So, this was recorded back in February? I should have checked that beforehand. I believe this was recorded the week after we got back from Nats. So yeah, it would have been like the second week of February. And then February was a bit of a mess, and I haven't put it out yet, so sorry about that. Yes, if you see my deck tech, I recorded this intro bit at the same day as the deck tech. Bite me. Yeah, please enjoy this interview that I did with Idan. Sorry, I'm now remembering that Eggman got his name very wrong.
And lastly, we have Ida with the top 64 finish of their 4 Sovereign or Diva deck.
Devas, it's not Divas. Idan is the only player to take the top 64 of North American Nationals with Devas. Quite literally the only one. I'm not kidding when I say that we in the Colorado local scene have been using him now as the, hey, how are we running Devas today? What tech are you looking at so that we can just copy? Which sounds silly until you realize that I played 3 Leviamons on Saturday and wanted to die because I wasn't running Devas, while my teammate Chris was running Devas and is very annoyed that he didn't run into any Levias because Devas destroys Levia. It also has, by Idan's own perspective, although I don't believe we covered this in the interview because Nume had not been a thing yet. No, I don't believe it was. There had been some testing with it, obviously, but we didn't have the cards yet at the time of recording. The Nume matchup for Devas, purportedly, according to Idan, which again, I'm gonna trust him on Devas stuff, is basically a free win. For kind of similar reasons that if you go see my deck tech on this armor deck that I still haven't actually put away yet, it just stomps it because you're able to prevent them from getting a lot of their on deletions, especially right now with Nume active. Sorry, I'm hiccuping. Numa's actively missing their BT16 Uko that they use as their primary search once they have BT16, since right now all they have is the RBO1 Numemon, who only searches on deletion, and they don't have any ways to delete their own Nume, and they don't really want to, since they want to go into Nume X and then get it deleted. Numa's in such a goofy spot. I think it's a great deck, but again, we're continuing to maintain here in the Colorado community that Devas is severely underrated. I will also point out that, like I very unhappily was playing on the mainstream run by Digipanda on Saturday, my teammate Chris was the round 1 that they watched because I think Digipanda looked at it and went, Devas versus Grace Nova? This'll be weird, sure. As a judge, the commentary on that match hurts me a little bit, but otherwise, it's a pretty good example of the fact that Devas is just a really good deck and people are not giving it the credit that it's due. Also, Bayumon's a bad card, which is why no one should be running it. And Idan says the same, which is part of why I'm still arguing it, but but Azulong's great, Ebon Wu's great, Zhu Chao is mostly funny, especially because this one also annoys me as a judge, but mostly just because of phrasing inconsistency. Zhu Chao can delete both your opponent's Devas and your opponent's Digimon with 6k or less? I think that's the qualifier, to gain the additional security attack. Anyway, here, please enjoy this interview that I did with Idan. He's a great human being, on top of actually being quite good at this game. He's also only been playing for, like, I think the math was, like, 8 months at the time. And again, the only North American player to top 64 with Devas. Technically, he also went undefeated at Nats. Well, until day 2. Insofar as he got multiple ties, but it worked for him, so sure. Enjoy. It's already turned into chaos, and I've only been in this call for like 2 minutes. Cool.
Oh wait, should I do it like this
I'm
way?
here with yet another Coloradan doing freaking better than me. Idan, who is the only person. I like how I fixed the camera for your decks and now you flipped it.
I wasn't sure.
I fixed it for the deck the way it was. Idan is the only player in all of the North American Nationals that top 64'd with Devas, a deck that you started a week before Nats.
Yep, and I submitted the deck list 2 hours before the deadline.
Any tweaks after you submitted it?
I've been thinking about it, but no, I didn't. I just did one submission.
Okay. So, I know vaguely how Devas works in that I think almost everyone understands. It's Ultimate Zoo. You play Ultimates and then you turn them into Devas, and then somehow the big stupid thing that can't be killed no matter what the hell we do comes out.
Oh, that's correct.
But how does it actually play on a game-to-game basis? Like, why is Analog Youth in here if you don't really do hatching or anything like that?
Sure. So yeah, you barely do hatching, but you do run the 4 eggs and Mother the Reapers because it's a color, you'll see later. It has no level, but it has 15k. The biggest benefit of having Reaper in the deck is that it enables your white options if you don't have a Deva on the field, if you get board wipe or something. And because you play EX4 and Telamon as one of the Devas, which has Alliance. So if you have Mother the Reaper on board, you can declare Alliance and swing 2 checks at 23k. And if you have less than 3 security, you even recover one with Antila. So that is a pretty cool effect.
This was going to be my other question then, of why exactly it is that so many Devas lists that I see run that Antila as opposed to, like, so far I've only seen the one blue Deva, the tiger, and even that, like, I know you're only on the one, and some people will run 2, but none of the other blue Devas seem to be getting played. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, all the blue Devas and even the green ones, they're pretty weak. So all the blue Devas have the inheritable of when attacking, you gain 1 memory if this card has 4 sovereigns in its trait. So like if you blast Evo or you just regular Evo and you swing and you gain 1 memory, but that doesn't really matter that much because you're still going to give your opponent a buttload of memory if you hard play a Deva or if you do the option to play Fanglong. So it doesn't really matter for the 1 memory. I play 1 because of the name. A lot of lists run Majiramon, which is the dragon, instead of Mihiramon, which is the one I run.
Because the dragon returns you memory if you use an option card?
Correct.
The costs
and
more
that
than 1?
is and that is the same effect that Badgermon has here.
Oh, I did not realize.
Yep. So they have the same effect, Mijiramon, and Badgermon. So because I already have this effect here and I mostly want these for a name, I opted with Mihiramon because my worst matchups, in my opinion, are Red Hybrid and Greymons. So at least his on-play effect, which is when another Digimon is played, trash a top Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. It's kind of relevant. You can strip maybe one of the protection sources on the Greymon, or for Mirage, if they Evo on top of Zudomon Ace, you can strip that source and you gain 3 memory. Yeah. And it's like BT13 All Force, where it counts itself for the on-play.
Yes, it does, yes.
Yeah, so it can come in handy. It's mostly a name. I run a couple one-ofs.
Yeah, so let's get the full deck list. I've got an image for it, but let's see it all spread out, especially since I know you've been able to replace some of the cards with alt arts since.
Yeah, almost. We almost have all of them. They're in the mail. Okay, but yeah, we went over the eggs, Mother the Reaper. For the best Devas, we have the black package, which is I run 2 Makurumon, Monkey. Has an effect, opponent's turn, all your opponent's tamer with play calls of 2 or less can't suspend. Doesn't really do much, that's why he is only played at 2. If you're running the Cool Boys, alright, It hits Cool Boy. It affects Cool Boy. Besides that,
And all
doesn't
of the
do
Devas
anything.
have that same on play of throwing a Deva with a different name into your breeding. How much of a
Yes.
pain in the butt is that to keep track of both what's on your field and what's in your trash?
It can be a little bit tricky at first because they all have the same effect of on play draw, and then you put one in the empty breeding spot. As long as that Deva that you put in the spot in the breeding zone is not on field or in the trash, so you have to check. It kind of it's a little tricky at first, but like once you get into the loop of like putting one Deva on board and then putting one in the back, and with the Fangalong option that will go over, you can cycle them back to your deck, so it gets better. But I'm pretty familiar with how many I run of each of the Devas, so I know like if I have one of these in hand, I know that's either in the trash or somewhere else. So it's kind of easy to keep track of with the one ofs.
But
It's
does
the
that
ones that I run
functionally
3 or
make
4.
them feel kind of like a dead card in your hand after you've already played one of them out?
No, because you can still hard drop it,
Okay.
and you don't have to put this one in the back, right? If this one's already in the
Oh,
trash,
yeah, of
this is the
course,
one you
because
use to play, and then put
'cause-
another thing in the trash.
yeah, since you're only limited by what goes into the breeding area. Okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes that
Mhm.
literally removes one of the major issues that I was seeing with this deck from the beginning.
Yeah, and that's why I'll run a lot of just like one ofs that we'll get to later. Yeah, going with the Black Devas, we have 3 Sinduramon. Sinduramon is decoy for Deva and 4 Sovereigns. So this chicken is pretty good. They all have the
But not
inheritable
for
of being
your
blocker.
God Beast.
No, it does not protect Fanglong. Fanglong is God
Protected
Beast.
enough.
Yeah, yeah. I never had an issue with Fanglong, even if it gets like deleted by security or not security, but like an option card. I was
Yeah.
always in a pretty good spot. But 3 have seen Duramon for the decoy. Most players that I played on day 1 played around it, but it's still like a blocker. And worst case scenario, like if you swing with a 4 sovereign and you hit something out of security, you can just like on a pinch just decoy that.
Okay.
But it's one of the better ones. The best Deva, in my opinion, Katuramon, playing 3 of them. Katuramon is blocker, just in the card, and also as an inheritable. So pretty good against things like Red Hybrid, that's just like swinging with small bodies. You don't have to blast Evo if you don't want to. It's just blocker in itself, and blocker if you blast Evo. Pretty good.
And
Probably the
all
best
of the
one in my
Devas
opinion.
of the same colors have the exact same inheritables, right? So all the black ones
Correct.
give blocker.
Yes. So all of these have blocker as inheritable. They have the different on play, not on plays, but like different effects. Yeah, 3 of these because they're the best ones. Just 2 of Makurumon because the main effect doesn't come up that much. For the red Devas, I'm playing 2 Sindiramon. Sindiramon has the same on play draw effect and put one in the breeding zone. On deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5k DP or less. This is good because if for some reason you have a rookie, a hate rookie that's like stop playing Digimon by effect, so you can't play your Fanglong, this can come up, you raise it and you just try to crash into something or into security if you really need to get rid of a body. But the best thing about the red Devas is the inheritable. While this Digimon has 4 sovereigns or god beasts, gain security attack +1.
Oh, just to accelerate you a little bit.
Yep, exactly.
And
But
and
I
all
like
the
the
red Devas have on deletions, right? So that if you pop them with your own Zhu Chao, you get an additional benefit.
correct.
Okay.
But the red ones are a little bit more aggro, so I always try to swing with them if I can.
Yeah.
If it's not going to put me in a
Sorry,
bad
you can
spot.
pop them with your own Zhu Chao, or just swing for the fences.
Exactly. The other red one that I play is 2 ofs is Indramon. On deletion, draw 1. Came in handy if I need it to search for a sovereign, the option card, anything. You crash it, but again, the most important thing here is the inheritable.
Yeah.
Security attack +1. And the one of red is Bajiramon. Bajiramon says, on deletion, if your opponent has a tamer, gain 1 memory. Comes up, but versus Anubis, which I expected to see a lot of, it doesn't come up that much, so I reduce it from 2 to 1. Just to have a name. We'll get to why we need names later.
Yeah.
Security attack +1. Red swords because I play Crimson Blaze. Spoilers, very good card. And
In this meta, anyone who isn't is just very sad they're not able to play red. Let's be honest.
Exactly. Like there are times where I wish I was playing more red sources for the Crimson Blaze. At one point, I was also testing a memory setter hero from BT8, I think it is, but I don't think his deck needs a memory setter.
Yeah, the DP
Yeah.
buffing one, yeah.
Yep. The only other Deva that we're not running, that we run more than one, is the Antilamon EX4. We talked about this, end of attack, if you have 3 or fewer security, recover 1, but the main thing is the Alliance. You suspend one of the Reaper or one of your other Devas or Sovereigns to go for 2 checks at way too big of a number.
And this
15k
is,
with the Sovereigns.
like, ideally the thing you put into breeding first, since Antil is
Yep.
not going to get the card draw for on playing them, and they cost
Exactly.
more than all your other Devas, so...
Yep. I think at one point I did have to hard drop it like without getting an effect just because I knew it was trying to go for game, and
Yeah.
maybe at that point I had all my other Devas in trash, so might as well. But yeah, normally this is just gonna go in the back and then you raise and try to go a little bit more aggro. The inheritable also comes up end of attack once per turn. If you have another suspended Digimon, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2k. Can hit some rookies and also works well with Fanglong that we'll see later. But yeah, the
okay.
main thing here is the Alliance. Now for
does the fact that they're a yellow source come up at all? I know that you're running Heaven's Judgment, and technically you can hit that with green sources, but I know you've also only got, what, 3 green Devas?
3 green Devas, yeah, but the Heaven's Judgment for Antilamon comes up a lot, because just with Antilamon on board, you can hit Heavens for green, blue, green, yellow, and the main activation.
Yeah.
So it's 18k, which pretty good.
Heaven's Judgment is an underrated card, and I will die on this extremely silly hill.
It's so good. I love it. But for the one-ofs that we're running, just for the names, we have these 4. So Mihiramon we already talked about. Vajramon has you turn once per turn, you play an option card with a cost of 1 or more, gain memory. This is mainly used for the 1-cost searcher option that Devas have, but it comes up with the Fanglong option or Heaven's Judgment, but mostly used for the 1-cost option to make it free. Kubihiramon has all turns, once per turn. When an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, draw 1.
Yeah, it messes with all of my Bloom shenanigans. I'm unhappy about it.
Exactly. This came up a lot in the Bloom matchup that I had round 4. A lot of people will play around it, just not swing or like try to delete it before they swing with Anubis because they can just pop level 5s. But eventually, like if you have this on board, they have to swing. You get at least 1 draw. Could be a good Sovereign. Could help you.
Yeah,
all the green inheritables
just
have.
Can't get around suspending, so.
Yeah, right. They don't even have to swing. It's just going to happen. So it's just 1 free draw. All the green inheritables have. Well, this Digimon has 4 Sovereigns or God Beast. They gain Piercing. Again, only came up in the Bloom matchup.
I was gonna say I don't feel like Piercing comes up in most games in general, but that was gonna be my next question.
I'm not really trying to swing that much with the Sovereigns, unless I know I'm in a good spot. So Piercing doesn't come up that much, but it came up during Bloom because,
and a very wide board and
exactly. It just I'm gonna swing at security anyways.
Redirect, so.
Yep. And the last green is Vikarlamon. I think this is the worst one. Out of all the games I played, again, only comes up in the Bloom because his effect is once per turn when one of your Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives it, unsuspend this Digimon. So because they had like rookies or champions that were suspended, I would just swing here, unsuspend, swing at the other one, and do a little bit of board clear. We only run it for the name though. Yeah, that's the only time it came up. Again, it's just for the name. Those are the one-ofs, and that is, I believe, all the Devas that we're running. That is 19 Devas. Then after the Devas,
that looks right for the thing I have.
Yep. And after the Devas, we have the Sovereigns. So I am running 4 Azulong. A lot of people are running 2 or 3. I think this is the best one, especially for this format, because his effect is on play and when Digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower to the hand, then unsuspend one of your Digimon with Deva or 4 Sovereigns. So the reason why I'm playing 4 of these is because the Melga matchup, if they're swinging before they're level 6, it's going to be at level 5.
And
they have battle
they
protection.
Have they're level 5.
Yeah,
and they don't have bounce protection. Yeah.
Yep. So this is why I was playing 4. I was scared, a little bit scared of the Melga matchup. Also, it's on play. So versus Anubis, if they already have somewhat of a board or something on board, because they delete level 5s, I would just hard drop the 4 Sovereigns instead of going for the Devas because they're also all 7 cost. So it doesn't matter if I'm dropping a Deva or 4 Sovereigns, at least this one's not getting deleted. And if it does get deleted, all these are aces, so they have overflow -4. But on deletion, Azulongmon deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. So it came up for Ruin Mode, Anubis, Merva, whenever I was seeing them. So this was pretty good into the Anubis matchup.
Because all of them have functionally removal on deletion, right?
Yes, they all have different types of removal, but they all have an on deletion deletes something.
Yeah, Ebonwu is the only one that's annoyingly specific, but otherwise.
Yep. And after the Azulong, I'm running 2 Chowmon. Big Bird. Big Bird says when Digivolving, when attacking once per turn, by deleting one Digimon with Deva or 6,000 DP, this Digimon gains security attack +1. And you can delete your opponent's Digimon. You can delete your own, but you probably are going to try to delete your opponent's Digimon.
It annoys the absolute hell out of me because it's phrased wrong for that to work that way, but yes.
Yeah, when I learned about the rulings, like, hey, this deck is kind of good. I run 3. I tested it at 4. I didn't like it just because if your opponent sees you're playing Devas, I don't think they're going to start swinging with something at 6k DP or less. Like, they know they're going to blast Evil. At least this hits more. Just because it's level 5, it's not based on DP.
I think you're overestimating what folks know about what this deck does. Because frankly, 6k is that magic number that gets you over Shine Gray Ruin Mode. But
yeah,
but at the same time, 6k is also the gets eaten by Crimson Blaze, so...
Crimson Blaze, and because Crimson Blaze is so popular, a lot of the Nubis players are running Solomon. So if they pop out 2 Solomons, Saber Dramon is 7k, and some of the other things can go over the 6k threshold. So I was not getting that much value in the Anubis matchup, so that's why I cut it to 3. It's still really good against things like Red Hybrid, because they're going to leave a rookie on board, and a couple other decks, but because Anubis I thought it was going to be the biggest deck, and as well as Melga. Melga's not going to swing before they're at least 7k. It's pretty rare, so I just cut it down to 3. It's still really good for the on deletion, and if they leave a body and you have 3 memory, you can just go on top of this on your own turn, pop something, and then just try to go for 2 checks. And if you evo this on top of a red sword, that's up to 3 checks.
And yeah.
So that's a pretty good play. And if you die, because this happened versus Anubis one game, I swung for 3 checks, and on the 3rd check, I ran into a Merva, so 12k, and it crashed. And because they only had an Anubis out, I was able to go 3 checks and then kill their Anubis.
And also kill Anubis?
Oh yeah, so that put me in a good spot. Like, I don't mind giving them 4 memory.
I'd lose 4 memory for that. Fuck Anubis.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, I'm normally giving them 7 memory. Going from 0 to 4 is not that big of a deal for me.
Yeah, so, no.
I was a little bit riskier with this one. I like it. After that, running 2 Ebon. Ebon is a weirder one. Ebon is pretty good because, number 1, it's live for Heaven's Judgment because it's green and purple.
Mm-hmm.
And on play, and when Digivolving, for each of your Digimon with Deva or 4 Sovereign, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then during your opponent's next unsuspend phase, they don't unsuspend. And on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon that's suspended. Looking back, I feel like I probably would have done better with 3 of these, just because I was running into things that would unsuspend, like Melga. And this can help with that. Also because...
I mean, it does only stop them from unsuspending during that phase.
Yeah, and that's sometimes all you need.
Thing,
yeah, it definitely came up in the blue matchup, and also versus Anubis, because if they're swinging with Saber Dramon or something and you drop this, even if they raid into it, they delete it, at least you suspend 1 or 2 of the things.
And you don't have to worry about them having blocker from Merva anymore and suddenly having to burn your crap on retaliation. Yep.
And if I'm evoing this on top of a black source against blocker, so I'm suspending things and I'm getting a 12k blocker, so pretty good. I'll bump this up to 3 after Nats.
What would you cut for it?
The next 4 Sovereign.
Poor giant tiger.
Yeah. Sorry, kitty. Baihumon Ace. Baihumon Ace is weird, but I liked it for Nats just for this format. Because, again, scared of red hybrids, they're going to be swinging a lot. And I was scared of Anubis, they have a lot of bodies. His effect is once per turn during your opponent's turn, when your security is checked, if that card is a Digimon with a Deva trait, play it without battling and without playing the cost. So you gamble a little bit. If you get the Deva, it's pretty good. You have another body, you can blast Evo on that body, or it's another free swing next turn. And on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. versus Anubis, this is one of the other ones that like I wouldn't mind just hard dropping because they're gonna have to swing. Either they swing at this with raid if I don't have Mother out, because Mother also stops raid because it's 15k.
Yeah.
And it can't die by retaliation because it's unaffected by Digimon effects. So if they check my security, there's a chance I'm gonna be like getting a free body out of it. But
Don't you get 2 because the on play should still also trigger?
it's not on play.
Oh,
It's just opponent's turn once per turn. That's why it's a little bit
No,
weak.
the on play for the Deva that comes out of security.
Oh, the on play for the Deo would just draw me 1 and put 1 in the breeding source. So yes,
Yeah, so by the time you get to your next turn, you push out,
Yeah.
and therefore
2
functionally
extra
have 2
checks.
bodies. Yeah.
Yep. So that's why I liked it. But again, you gamble, and I got some checks out of it, some good hits that they would just play out. They were like, I played Antilamon one from just getting checked by security, and that's just so good. But it's a little bit high roll, so I would probably just cut this, or at least go down to 1 for the Ebon, just because it's safer. It's more
Makes
consistent
sense.
that way. But I do like the high roll aspect of this because I am playing just Fangalone Turbo basically. But yeah, that is all the sovereigns that I'm playing. So that is what 4, 7, 9 sovereigns. I like the ratio. The ones I can go up and down on a couple of these, but the ratio is.
No,
Oh, and I'm playing 11. Never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say 11 because
Yeah.
you threw the
Turtle.
Ebenus in a different pile. Okay.
Turtle. 11 of them. Pretty good.
Look, me and math aren't friends. It took me a second to catch up.
Neither are we. So that's all the Devas, all the sovereigns. Devas have 2 option cards. One of them is Loyalty Deeper Than the Sea. I love the name. While you have a Digimon with Deva 4 sovereigns, you may ignore this color requirements for this card. So 1 cost, main, reveal the top 3 cards, place 1 card with the Deva or 4 sovereigns trait among them as the bottom Digivolution card of one of my Digimon, or add it to the hand. Return the rest of the top or bottom of the deck. So it searches, it adds to hand, or you can put a source under it. Putting the source is good because if you already have Fanglong or one of your 4 sovereigns out and you reveal like a black source, you can put blocker on there, any one of your Digimons, and that can come in handy a lot. It's just 1 cost. Or you just add it to hand and play it, grab a sovereign, be ready for Blast Evo. Pretty good card. Security activates its main effects.
Okay, so it's just like super versatile.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's anything more to say. Just instant 4 of. If you have Mother out and you're at 0 memory, like turn 1, if your hand's not that good, you can just drop it for a 1 because you can
add
Mother the white
something
source.
to hand and memory screw.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, that seems pretty solid.
I used to do that a lot. Just like Hatch Mother, past a 1. I think giving them the 7 is fine for turn 1, just because at least then I'm gonna have 2 bodies on the board, and they're not gonna promote.
And not that many folks can honestly take advantage of 7 memory on turn 1.
Yep. Versus Anubis, that kind of backfires because they're just gonna go training, boost, and then next turn you're just gonna get slapped. So versus Anubis, kind of depends on what your hand is, but versus most of the matchups, I'm just fine giving them the 7. But this can come up, just giving them 1 memory.
I have to bring up that I love that we have to talk about how all of your play against Anubis went, knowing full well there is not another event where it's legal, at least for
Yeah.
like
It's disappointing.
There's a deck or two, or there's an event or two in like Europe where it's going to be legal, but we're free. The evil is defeated.
Thank God. But it's a little disappointing because all my choices, all my plays is like, hey, versus Anubis, I did this and things like that. So it's kind of disappointing. I actually didn't want to play Nationals because of that, because I thought it was a dead format, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
I'm glad I picked up
Quickly,
this deck.
I forgot, this was one I wanted to bring up. How many other decks did you run through before deciding the week before Nats that you were going to go with Devas?
I was going to play Galantmon.
Don't you lie, there was also Beals in that too.
Yeah, I tested Beals, I tested Royal Knights, and I tested Galantmon, and I figured my brain's not good enough to do 11 rounds of Royal Knights, and Beals, you live by the high roll, you die by the high roll. Congrats to top 16 player. That was pretty cool that did Beals top 16.
I still haven't looked at that list yet, but I want to.
It's pretty good. I think he's a pretty good player. I've seen his videos, just how he talks about the deck. He's been playing it for a while. He did really well. I am definitely not that Beals player. I'm not that good. And so, like, Fen, you've seen me play on stream. I have drawn 5 option cards, and my 6th draw is another option card.
I've also played Beals against you where you high rolled and just blew the shit out of me.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. So it happens or it doesn't happen. I didn't want that for 11 rounds. I think it's good for like 34 at locals. but I didn't
Okay.
want to go through that because I was just going to get disappointed by bricking so much. So I didn't go for Anubis, not Anubis, Bios. I didn't go for RK. Galmon is my pet deck. I know how to play it. I think it's somewhat decent right now. So since I hated this format, I was just going to play the Gal for fun while all my friends did really well at the tournament. And shout out to my friend Andy, my teammate Andy, who said, "Hey, this deck is good. You should play it." And I did. And shout out to Kamal, who went undefeated at locals a week before nationals with this deck. It's like that's what decided what I was going to play basically. And yeah, that's why I'm
And
happy
then
I didn't
you
play
top
Gallons.
64'd with it, and only one other Colorado person even. Sorry, two. One other Colorado person who hopefully I'll grab her at some point. Top 64'd with Red Hybrid, and Chris top 256 with Mirage? Whatever the hell he
Yep.
was running.
He was playing Mirage.
Yeah, meanwhile, every other of the 15 Colorado folks that we brought didn't even make it into top 256, including all of the people with buys.
And including the person that taught me how to play Devas. He showed me
Yeah.
the list. So that was funny. Funny turn of events. I definitely think people weren't expecting Devas. And the fact that it doesn't have the worst matchup against Anubis, I'm just glad I dodged Red Hybrid because I think that is my worst matchup, as well as Blackwater Greymon. So I got lucky, but I did play 4 Anubis in day 1, and then a 5th one in top cut. So I think the deck was doing well against Anubis.
I mean, considering how many you managed to take down, yeah.
I was taking them dogs out. But yeah, the other option card, I actually never read the full name. Holy Beast, Great Cardinal Position. 12 cost option. Again, you can ignore the color
Terrible
requirements if you
name.
have a Deva. And for Sovereigns, I like the name. It's pretty badass, but I'm never going to say the full name.
It's just so, it's not, oh god, the one from BT16 that no one will ever actually say the full name of, but it's still long.
Digipolice one? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. But yeah, this card is what makes the deck. It's kind of like Royal Knight in the sense like it brings out your win condition, which is Fanglong.
This is your version of Omnimon, basically.
Basically, I am playing Turbo Fanglong, just like names getting in trash, and what this card does is I reduce the cost of this card by 1 for every Deva and 4 Sovereigns with a different name in trash. So the more unique names I have in trash, the cheaper this option card is. So I was always dropping it for like probably less than 7. I think it versus Bloom, I dropped it for the full 10, never looked back, best decision ever.
I think I checked, you have 15 different names? Because you're just missing one of the No, 2 of the Davis?
I'm missing a
Two.
couple. I'm missing at least 2 of the Davis.
No, I think it's actually only 1.
Majiramon, and
And
oh, there was another one.
the other blue is Antila, and you're running Antila.
Yeah,
just a
so I do
different
have the
Antila.
name covered. Yeah, you're right. So I'm just missing 1. So I have a pretty good spread,
so
and I'm
good
running all the
chance of
Sovereigns.
keeping the cost low.
Yep. So like if they check security and it goes to trash, that's a name. If I analog point, which I'll go over later, I am reducing the cost. But yeah, this card brings out Fanglong from your hand for the
And
cost of whatever.
You're not paying his 15 play cost.
Exactly.
You're just paying the whatever the option cost actually comes out to. Okay.
And out of security, you can return 1 Fanglong from trash and then add this card to hand. And even if you don't have Fanglong, you add the card to hand. So if you already have Fanglong in your hand, that's your full play right there.
Yeah.
So pretty good. I think 4 is great because I'm just trying to get to Fanglong as fast as I can.
Makes sense,
And-
because that card is a huge pain in the butt.
When my opponent sees I grabbed it from security, they kind of start playing differently. Even if I don't have Fanglong in hand, which is great.
They just have to operate under the assumption that you do. Though.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a good thing to see at any point in the game. But yeah, that card brings out Fanglong, which is the boss monster of this deck. Level 7, God Beast, on play and when attacking, has a pretty good effect. Also, it evos from any 4 Sovereign for a cost of 4. It's yellow, so
often
it's
did you
live for
evo it?
Heaven's Judgment.
How often did you actually like Evo into it?
Twice.
Okay. The entire 2 days? Twice?
Yes, only twice. It comes up if you can't, like versus Anubis, you're not going to promote your level 5, so you can keep 1 in the back and just start Evo in racing. Because Fanglong is also when attacking, not when digivolving for his effect. So having the 4 Sovereign out and just going into Fanglong. I think I did it once because I could quit past to 1 and put me in a pretty good spot, but normally I'm just doing it with the option because his on-play effect and one attacking effect is great. By returning up to 4 cards with a Deva or 4 Sovereigns trait from your trash to the bottom of your deck, for each one, all your opponent's Digimon get minus 4k DP for the turn, so it's a blanket effect. Not as good as Shine Gray because it doesn't last until the next turn, but
Which I thought it did, and definitely screwed me up in early testing.
Ooh. Yeah, no, this is only one turn.
I kept playing around it in ways that were bad.
It's still pretty good because number one, you can cycle your Devas back. So if you have a Deva in hand that you want to put in your racing area, you can bottom deck that one from trash, and then you can just put it in racing. So like Antilamon, if it was in trash and I really wanted it in racing, I would just bottom deck Antila, even if my opponent has no Digimon, just to like have it live in my racing area.
Yeah, there's no reason not to, so that you can keep accelerating. Yeah.
Yep. And if I'm dropping Fanglong mid to late game, I have at least 7-8 cards that I can bottom deck, so that is minus 16k couple turns, which is pretty good. So it's a blanket effect. So against Leviamon, which was my round 11 opponent, Fortitude, I don't care. It comes back and it gets deleted instantly. So that was pretty good against Fortitude decks versus Anubis. It just board wipes.
Important note for it: it also has the all turns isn't affected by your opponent's Digimon, especially in a meta where all of the removal is attached to Digimon aside from like Seccon.
Yep. Can't be suspended by Mirage or things like that. It can't be bottom decked. It can't be removed from the board by a Digimon effect. Leomon minus DP effects. Shine Gray.
Luga can't kill it to unsuspend.
Yep, Luga can't kill it either. So it was pretty good. I didn't see a lot of decks that were running options that would kill it. I think only my Leomon opponent in round 11 was able to kill it with Flashy Punch and something else. And I ran into Mill, which has Rivals Barrage, so I was able to kill it once.
But you've got 4 of them.
Exactly, I have 4 of them, and if they're spending 7 memory to kill my Fanglong, that still puts me in a pretty good position because I might just do it again next turn.
Okay.
So one other effect.
I was gonna ask about that one because you don't. You said you don't evolve it a ton. How often does the second one attacking effect come up?
The second one attacking effect, which is for each of your Digimon with 4 Sovereigns in its traits, trash the top card of your security. Yes, it comes up.
I thought that was in sources. That makes much more sense now. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's just the ones you have on board. It comes up enough, especially because this little combo with a Zulongmon. Like if you have a Deva and at least 3 memory, let's say you have Antilamon, you swing, you do your checks. If you Evo on top of a suspended Deva with a Zulongmon and Zulongmon's effect to unsuspend, and then you have Fanglong, which will swing 15k, trashing 1, and then you can just go for a game with Zulong. That came up a couple of times, just being able to Evo into a Deva and then just trash 1. Because my opponent felt safe, like if they clear my Devas and I only have Fanglong, I can't do much, but like raise a Deva, I can go for this combo, and I'm doing trashing 1 and at least getting 2 more checks in. And so that came up a couple times.
Can you? I'm just trying to remember. There wasn't a target restriction for loyalty deeper than the sea. So can you grab like one of the reds and throw it under Fanglong?
Yes, you can throw the red ones under Fanglong to give security attack +1. You can throw the black ones to give it a blocker. So this is going to be a 15k blocker unaffected by Digimon effects that each turn will give up to minus 16k to the board and possibly trash a security. Pretty good card. It's a pretty good card. I love it. It's so funny to see it.
That is ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah. The face my opponents made when it's like they saw the cardinal option, it's like, yeah, it's happening. It's like board wiping Anubis every turn, just all their things. I actually decked out one Anubis because they kept, they had to do their things. And they couldn't get rid of like all my blockers, 12k, and having Mother out or Fanglong, which means their retaliation is just dead. They can't do anything about it. So, and then next turn I just like board wipe again. So they have to spend so many resources to climb back up, make that board. For me to just like wipe it with Fanglong, I just decked them out. They couldn't do too much about it.
So I have one other weird corner case to ask about then. Since Fanglong will also let you return it's just cards with Deva Four Sovereigns.
Mhm.
Are you often returning either of the options?
Yes, I was
Okay.
returning Cardinal with my mill versus mill because Fanglong lets me bottom deck cards, so I never need to bottom deck the 4 for the 16k versus mill, but I don't want to get decked out.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to return as many as I can, and Cardinals, like if I have another Fanglong, at least I can draw into another one, drop another Fanglong, bottom deck another 4. So it came up, but most of the times just returning a Deva.
I figured. I looked at it now, and we keep getting more and more cards that say card, not Digimon.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see if that did actually come up.
It comes up as well because since Cardinal is each unique name, if I have 2 Cardinals or 2 loyalties, I don't need more than one in there. So I would just bottom deck it so my trash is only Devas that I don't need or 4 Sovereigns that I don't need and one of each of the options. I try to just like keep my trash clean. It's also
I
easier for
didn't even
management.
see that also says card.
Yes. Both options have the Deva trait in
It
the
literally gets reduced cost if there's already one in your trash.
Yep. Oh no,
What the hell?
Cardinal doesn't count for the reduction because Cardinal is on the field when it's played, but it counts for the bottom deck it for the minus DP.
Wait. No, it's different name in trash.
In trash,
totally
yeah.
counts.
Oh yeah, if you have another one, yes, it does count.
Oh yeah, that's just
Yeah.
Congratulations, you've removed one Fanglong that you played out with Cardinal. It literally means that you get to play out the next one cheaper. Oh my god.
Yep. So that was pretty
Hateful.
fun, and you know, like they hit this out of security, it goes to trash. This one doesn't go to trash, but like if they hit this out of security, I get a search and
You
then
get the
another
search,
name.
and it also goes to trash ahead of time. Yeah.
Yep. So
That
pretty
is
good cards.
ridiculous. I love it.
Fanglong is super cool. I love him. He is such a fun card.
I also appreciate that because you have those Heaven's Judgments, functionally you are one of the only decks that can kill Fanglong.
I actually had a mirror round 1 versus Deva, and they were not running Heavens. So every time they Fanglong, because that's an attrition match, it's just out resourcing your opponent. Heavens was pretty good. 'Cause just having Antilamon kills their Fanglong, and that's a pretty good trade for me.
And if they can't kill your Fanglong, then it's a battle of attrition where one of you has a freaking machine gun and the other has a pistol. So
exactly. So that was pretty fun. The other thing about Fanglong is that with Heaven's Judgment, if you minus X amount that doesn't kill the board, so if I only have, let's say, minus 8k and I can't kill their 12k or something, I can finish it off with Heavens. Just do like minus 6k, minus 6k, minus 6k here, depending on what I have on board. So it combos really well with Heavens just because it's a yellow, and I'm getting at least minus 12k from Heavens just with the Fanglong out. So
that
good.
I will continue to say Heavens is an underrated card, and I don't know why more people don't run it.
Yeah, I will die on the hill that Heaven's Judgment is necessity in this deck, especially next format. But yeah, the rest of the cards, I run 3 Analog Youth. Analog Youth is pretty good for this deck because you reveal 3 cards, you add 1. You can add Fanglong because Loyalty does not let you add Fanglong.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a God Beast, not a Deva.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So with Analog, you can grab it, and the rest go to trash. So it's filling your trash with more names. Even if you trash the option, it's a name. Unfortunately, during my Top Cut match versus Anubis, I analog and I trashed 2 of my option cards and a Heaven's Judgment. So 2 of the Cardinals. So that was unfortunate. So it is what it is. But Analog Youth is good as well because if your Sovereign dies and it has a source, you can at least suspend it, gain a memory, make the overflow not as expensive. And you can probably put out a Mother if you want just to promote it next turn. Because the hatch is mandatory, so either you already have a Deva in there or you put a Mother. It's mandatory if you suspend to gain the memory. Yeah, you can't do one or
I
the
do
other.
like the idea that functionally one analog just reduces the overflow that you're paying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there were times where I was past the 3 by my opponent and I would swing with the Sovereign, and if it dies, I would normally just pass turn, but with the analog, I get to keep turn at 0. So that came up a couple times.
Okay. So
it was
kind of what Luga does with Hell Luger.
Exactly. The only reason why I went down from 4 for analog is the Mirage matchup. Because my friend Chris, our friend Chris, was slapping with Mirage,
Friend
and
is a
if they
strong word when he's a monster playing Mirage, but yes.
yeah. So if he hit analog out of security, I have to grab a card, so I was giving like 3-4 memory.
Yeah.
So Mirage matchup, I cut it down to 3. I wouldn't mind seeing it back to 4, but 3 did its job.
Okay.
The meta was a lot of the digivolving. I saw Leviamon, I saw Blue that was like bouncing to hand, so analog was not always live for the suspend effect, but the search
Okay.
always is nice.
That and Mirage now has. I know they don't love it, but they'll run it as their 5th level 6. They have Tamer bounce that can be mildly annoying.
Yeah, I don't really mind for tamers, but another thing that also comes up is Leviamon. So just having a Deva and analog usually means Leviamon is gonna start popping stuff into my board.
Oh
So gotta be careful with that. But I usually like to see it. Um, the other options I run are two Crimson Blaze because this format was a format.
yeah.
And I hate running Crimson Blaze. I hate it. It's a good card, but I hate running it. I hate having to run it. But here it is. Crimson Blaze and MVP, Three Heavens Judgment. Such a good card. It
Because
just
the Crimson Blaze in this case is shutting down Anubis, functionally the mirror, sort of.
kind of.
Because it stops the play of Fanglong by the option, and it'll stop them from playing into
Yeah.
breeding, but that's all I can actually think of.
Yeah, correct. But
Yeah.
I don't like giving them 6 memory because that means they can play a Deva, put me to 1, and even if they're not putting 1 in breeding, it's not the best play. But if it comes up, it comes up. If I'm scared of Fanglong board wiping me, I will do it.
Okay.
But it's mostly for Anubis and Red Hybrid, just in case they have a lot of rookies, but mostly
and
Anubis.
Luga, if we were allowed to exist in this format.
Exactly, Luga as well. But the best option, Heaven's Judgment, we already talked about it. Combos so well with Antilamon and all the green Devas. And let's see, so we have Azulomon for Sovereign with the yellow, Ebon, which is green, so it counts. So and Baihumon is black and yellow.
And all of your 1-cost greens and the Antila.
Yep. So I had a lot
Yeah.
of sources for Heaven's Judgment. 3 of my Sovereigns, a lot of my Devas, and Fanglong. So I was pretty confident. And seeing out of securities minus 12k, so that's goodbye Mervamon. So
Yeah,
came up out of security as well.
Removing the rush on all of the retaliation things that Merv has played out seems so useful, and blocker.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was super useful. That got me one of the games versus Anubis. And versus something that's higher than 12k like Leomon, at least they're gonna still think twice if they want to run to my security
they know that they'll
again.
be risking death to not a rookie, but in your case, ultimate.
Yeah.
So you went through 10 rounds day 1, 1 round day 2.
Rounds.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, we finished at 10 rounds. You're right.
Yeah, we finished at 10 rounds. Yes. And you technically went undefeated day 1, correct?
Correct. I went undefeated because I had no losses, but I had 30 ties.
So how many of your matchups do you remember off the top of your head?
I remember all of them because it was a very hard day, long and stressful day.
Because notably, you also did go in with no buys, so you had to play all 10 rounds.
Yeah, I had to play all of them, and it was a very long day. I think it was about 11 or 12 hours.
It was about 12 hours, event. Yeah. We were supposed to start at 9. We started a little closer to like 9:15, and round 10 finished around 9. It was almost exactly 12 hours. So
exactly.
Your literal first match was, you said, a mirror against...
Yeah, I ran into one of the probably 5 Deva players at Nats, and we had a mirror match. It was a very fun match, but it takes forever because no one wants to swing, because Chu Chao can pop a Deva on either side. So if you swing and your opponent has Chu Chao, your board's getting wiped, basically. So swinging is very scary. So it's only like when you have Sovereigns or Fanglong that you feel comfortable. So the games took a while. I ended up in a draw because of time. Still pretty fun. My second round was Yellow Hybrid. I didn't expect to see that. It was Yellow Hybrid security control. I don't know what to call it with the Marcus package.
I I don't know either at this point, and I've been trying to figure it out for ages. I would say
But,
some kind
yeah.
of yellow hybrid, but yeah.
Yellow hybrid control, Marcus control, whatever we call it. That was a
Yeah.
pretty simple matchup for me just because of Fanglong. All their options out of security do not work on Fanglong, and I almost always had a blocker to counter all their swings with hybrids. And if I blast Evo into a Zulong and bounce their hybrid, they're losing their tamer. It's not going back. So it felt like a pretty simple matchup. Then I say that, and then round 3, I had another yellow hybrid, Marcus, whatever you call it, matchup. And my opponent feels like it felt like he has never seen a Deva card before, and I'm not sure he had seen a yellow hybrid card before. So the game went on for a while,
I'm gonna level
even
with you. I feel like a
though
lot of
he
people
was
have
decking
not seen
out.
the Deva cards before.
Yeah,
This is
I don't know.
I don't think
I
this
was
is the
pretty.
most well-known deck from
No, it
EX5.
came out a week before Nationals, so he was taking it a while. It's a matchup that I would have won if I'm honest, but games took a while. So that was my second draw of the day, and that was my round 3. So it was not looking good. Round 4, I played versus Bloomlord. Shout out to Giancarlo Gomez, great guy. Basically, revitalized my energy for the day, just because we were able to speak Spanish all day. So great
Heard
guy.
nothing
I
but
owe him.
positive things about this opponent.
Yeah, my mental health was great that day because of him, and because of you guys as well. But speaking Spanish just helps me.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Were you not also giving crap to the person you had just played against?
Yeah, but don't say that. Don't say that.
Look, I'm the one who had to get into a literal fight with someone
That's true.
proclaiming to be a judge in the middle of the play area, so...
Yeah, I could have had it worse, but yeah, we were having fun that game. Bloom Lord was a bit scary, but Fanglong just boards wipe every turn. So if I see Fanglong, I got it. Also, like the blockers, like if I blast Evo, even if I lose my 4 sovereigns and I can delete something, that still puts me in a good spot because it's pretty easy to get rid of their smaller bodies. I just have to get rid of Hydra, Quartz, or Bloomlord. Everything else is pretty simple in that matchup. And with Fanglong, it's pretty easy to go over Quartz because it's unaffected. It's not going to get suspended.
Yeah, and you're giving what? Minus
16k.
I mean, yeah. So not...
Yeah.
It's 17, isn't it? Or is it 16?
Quartz? It's not 17.
I've not had to think about how big Quartzmon is in a minute, okay?
Black Quartz was 15. It's still less than 16.
I did this math at some point to... Yeah, it is 15. There are surprisingly few Digimon in the game that are bigger than... that are even 16k. It came up back in the grandest meta a lot, where people kept talking about how you needed to get jamming because it mattered, because swinging at 16k wasn't enough, and even at that point there were three cards that were 16k. Yeah.
So like anything, the only things I get over Fanglong in this meta, like at Nats, has to be boosted by something else, like a Greymon or stack.
Yeah, a Greymon stack that just won't freaking die because it has too much DP. Yeah.
Yep. So Bloomlord was Bloomlord. That was a fun game. After that is when I started seeing Anubis. I think I had like 2 back-to-back Anubis. Those went surprisingly well. Just because I was hard dropping sovereigns, they can't delete it with Anubis. And I was hard dropping the level 6s and I was keeping the loyalties in hand so I could just dig for a blocker and make my sovereigns 12k blockers. And if I had Mother out, Saber Dramon is useless. I think someone
just keep raiding into the mother.
Yeah, someone did try that, thinking like they're gonna raid into it, but I have Mother out, so they forgot. And then it's like, I'll kill Mother. It's like, no, you can't. So that was funny. But Anubis, I actually do like hard dropping the Devas because they will deck out. If I am able to like board wipe and they have to do it again, and I have my Sovereign out, they will eventually deck out. It happens.
Oh yeah, that is 100. I mean, that was the way that the very first game of the finals ended, was Seccon milling out the Anubis player.
Yep. I think like the only couple times I was dropping the Devas regularly to like put one in the breeding zone is if I had one of the red ones, so like the Leah 5k DP.
Oh, something where you were fine with it dying anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So the red ones usually, or the not Katurumon, because Katurumon still dies, but yeah, the red ones 5k delete or draw 1, it was helping me, and I would just put Intila in the back for next turn. Because in Telamon, even if I'm not swinging at security, I can Alliance and start clearing some of their board that's 12k just with my level 5. I don't have to risk a Sovereign getting killed.
And if they've picked down your security at all, you get a little bit of recovery out of it too.
Yep. And again, if it dies, it's also named the trash for Fanglong later on, because Fanglong is the MVP in that matchup. Yeah, I saw 2 Anubis back to back, maybe even 3. What else did I play? I played against Mill, round 4 or 5. That
I'm curious about
matchup.
this. So yeah, what kind of mill deck was this?
Millith,
Gallant
just
Mill or
Lilithmon.
Mill?
Yeah, I don't know what Guilmon and Lilithmon Mill. I don't know
I
what
think we
you
were
call
trying
it.
to call it Millant, but there wasn't enough gallant in it for people to actually refer to it by that.
It's the Mill deck, and
Yeah.
Fanglong helps a lot in that deck because I can just keep bottom decking cards.
Yeah.
I did get milled one of the games. I went 2-1 in that. But yeah, just swinging. I was very aggro in that matchup because I saw that they were not running that many options. I think they had Deathlingers. So like when I saw the trash was less than 10 or less than 20 if I was swinging with a Sovereign, I felt pretty safe because Lilithmon is 11k. So I was just swinging with Shu Chao for 2-3 checks and then maybe Fanglong trashing 1. So I felt pretty safe that matchup.
Because Deathslinger is kills level 4 and then increases by 1 for every 10 in trash, so
Yep.
they need to be mostly self-milled out to kill Fanglong with it? Okay.
Exactly. And like, even if they kill Fanglong, at that point, I think I have more cards in their deck. Crimson Blaze actually did come up that matchup because War Growlmon lets you EX3 War Growl, lets you put out a Guillemot, and they can start milling me again. So that came out of security, and that was pretty good. So yeah, that was that matchup. Then I started seeing more Anubis. I think I saw 4 Anubis day 1. Yep. My round 11 was a Leviamon that was pretty tough, I'll be honest. The Leviamon inheritables with
10.
the minus round 10. Yep, round 10.
Because round 11 functionally would have been day 2, but yes.
Yeah. It didn't count for the Digivolve. Yeah, I barely had things to Digivolve, but the minus DP from their inheritables do come up to kill the Devas. Because if they do minus 3k, minus 2k from inheritables, and then they fortitude to level 5, that kills a Deva. But you can't kill Fanglong, you can't minus DP Fanglong, so that was like my safe option. That's one of the games where I actually hard Evo into Fanglong to feel safer from their effects.
Okay. Because even if you Evo into it, you're still protected from the Digivolve. Makes sense.
Yeah. And if my Fanglong is not suspended, even Flashy Punch is not going to kill it, just because like they can't swing over it. Unfortunately, my opponent did have a misplay that round, where they forgot Fanglong's unaffected, even though the game before they were playing around it, just kind of had
They just got in that tunnel vision of I need to kill it, and this is the way I kill things.
They were tired, so they tried to kill a Fanglong.
12 hours in, I cannot blame them.
Yeah, exactly. So that helped me a lot. It was a momentum swing, but the matchup is, I think it's still in favor of the Devas just because their inheritables don't do that much. And again, Fanglong does not care about fortitude because it's a blanket effect for the rest of the turn. Yeah. So anything they try to bring back, it's just gonna die.
It just immediately still dies.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that Leo and obviously Devas were, quite frankly, dark horses that kind of came out of nowhere with EX5 that I don't think folks were really expecting to see or have to be
I'm
prepared
kind of glad
for.
they still had a good matchup against the big bad that was Anubis. So it brings a little variety into the meta, which I like, I appreciate, because I do not like this Nats format.
Me neither. I don't understand why they didn't just limit it to whatever. So then you had one game on day 2, which was the Anubis match.
Yep, Anubis, that's the one that got me. My opponent played really well. Like, he was playing around Heaven's Judgment by doing double Merva play, so if one dies to Heaven's, they still have the other one. They played it well. It was still unfortunate to mill 50% of my win con out of Analog Boy, Analog Youth. Yeah. So I was not winning that one. There's no way around it. I'm not going to make excuses, but it was fun. My opponent was pretty nice about it. He played it really well. Again, like, I played for Anubis 5 with him. He was definitely just way better, and I think he got top 16. So he did something right.
3 wins, 1 tie, 1 loss against Anubis?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, honestly, that's a better record than most people can cite against Anubis, so.
Yeah, and before Nats, I only played against Anubis twice. So Shout out to
thought
my
you
friends
were-
that let me read Anubis cards
I
before
thought you were
Nats.
grinding a bunch of practice the week before, but
I
okay.
did not see any Anubis in my practice, surprisingly.
goodness,
But I saw
okay.
Leviamons, so I was ready for that one.
Oh my god. Okay, I have one final question that has absolutely nothing to do with Nats at all, but of the places that we as the Colorado Monster unit went for food, what was the best
Oh
one?
god. The best one was what's
Yeah.
it name? What's it called? Pine and Crane was the best one. There is no way about it. Shout out to Pine and Crane and their pork buns. Delicious. So good. I think it's start of day 2, our hotel had horrible breakfast, and one of my friends got me their pork buns from Pine and Crane, and it just gave me energy, and I was so happy because otherwise I was going to be dead tired. The food in LA is great, way better than Colorado. Sorry, Colorado.
So I
But
just
Pine
I
and
want
Crane
to
was the
make it
best.
clear that I did not preempt you for that at all, because that's also the place I've been talking up whenever I'm talking about the food, all of the really good food we had, but I keep telling
Yeah,
everyone to
Taiwanese
go
food
there.
is so
But I did not
delicious.
prompt him at all.
No, I was not ready for that one. I had to look it up. I don't know because I keep getting confused with rice and nori because it's pine and crane, rice and nori. So I
I
have to
didn't
make
actually
sure I'm
try
not
rice
saying.
and nori, so I didn't get to experience that one.
Wait. Oh yeah, rice and nori. Yeah, you
It
didn't
was
go.
it
I
was
almost confused it
offered
with the sushi.
after we got back from Sugarfish, and was like, there is too much
Yeah.
food in me to try this, but thank you.
It was so good. Everything I ate was really good, but pine and crane was just hitting different.
Yeah, we went there for brunch after everyone else had left.
So good, so good.
Okay, well, Idan, thank you so very much for doing this absurd interview with me, especially after having your name so horribly mispronounced and your deck called Devas.
Oh,
by
I still
Eggman.
like calling it divas just because it's
I
a
know
pretty
you
deck.
are, but
Yeah, I have gotten the best ego from getting top 64. So shout out to everyone for keeping up with me, just letting me be me. I have peaked Digimon. I've never done this well at any event. I've only been playing for a year, so this was quite a surprise.
right, yes, this was the other thing. You started in November 2022?
Yeah, and I only play competitively starting like June 2023 because
I
I like
remember
Royal
when we started
Knights.
trying to drag you into regionals and things, because
Yep.
Chris and I and Hung we have problems, and we like other people to suffer with our problems.
And hey, it worked. Shout out to Hung Lee for coaching me all day. He gave me the best advice ever. He just came up to me every round and said, "Hey, don't lose," and I didn't. So that just carried me day one. Good
See,
advice.
and oh my god, he slept in on day 2 and didn't get there to do that.
Yeah, he slept
It's
in.
Hung's fault.
He
Got
didn't
it.
tell me. Yeah, he didn't tell me not to lose day 2, and I lost. So it's clearly related.
It's 100% Hung's fault for sleeping in.
Yeah, but
Cool,
also
now
shout
we
out
can
to you
blame him
because every
forever.
round I kept asking, like, "Hey, am I out? Do I have enough points?" Because I don't know how to
And
calculate
every
points in
time
a
I would do the
tournament.
math and go like, nah, you're basically like you need to do very badly to get knocked out now.
Yeah, I had to lose and I didn't, so I'm pretty happy to say I went undefeated day 1 with Devas because this deck is so fun.
Eventually we'll get to have locals again, and maybe your head will decrease in size, but we'll see.
Yeah, because I'm not playing this at locals. Too much pressure now.
No, you just assured us that your ego would return to a normal human level once you return
yeah.
to locals.
Oh yeah, that's
But
all
our
Home's
locals
fault
this
anyways.
week is canceled because it should be starting in 8 minutes, and it's fucking not.
I wouldn't be toxic if it wasn't for Hung, but I owe him my win because he said not to lose. Therefore, it's fine. That's how it works.
Yes. Therefore, Hung is the toxic player. Got it.
Oh, he is. Yeah. This is everyone knows that. Even people that don't know Hung, they just play against him and they
That's
just
the
know.
everyone. Okay, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people know Hung if they've ever played in GFG.
Oh yeah, Hung Lee, toxic, Mr. Shakuri Greymon board.
It's always a Greymon board, and yeah.
But still, the event was
God.
pretty fun. I'm glad I went in. I'm glad I didn't play Gallant, even though I love Gallant.
I'm a little glad you didn't play Gallant too. I don't think it would have done this well.
No, it only did well in the 3v3s.
Meanwhile, my entire team got scrubbed out of the 3v3s because they all kept losing.
Yeah, one of them got scrubbed out by Gallant, if I remember.
What? He didn't win a single game with that Royal Knights deck.
Well, he really lost the gallant, and that's what matters.
I know. I was yelling at him the entire time because I was the only one consistently winning games, and when I lost so quickly in the 3v3 versus your team, went,
that was funny.
I'm already out. We're gonna lose. And then Hung was knocked out immediately, and then Chris talked a big game about it. He's gonna play it down. He's gonna prove that we'll actually get 2-1. And no.
No, it just didn't happen.
Royal Knights betrayed all
the
of us.
The event was pretty fun. Both days were pretty fun. I'm pretty happy with placings. Can't ask for more. Can't wait for next year.
I can personally ask that some of the growing pains are sorted out next year, but overall, considering that this went from 1 card game last year and went to 4 this year, and one of them being run in a weird second con, this could have been so much worse.
Yep. I hope they keep improving. It was very fun.
I do too, although I do hope they don't keep changing TOs every time, because that's not going to make anyone's life easier.
Agreed.
Well, again, thank you very much, Idan, for one, representing Colorado, but also just agreeing to let me do this entirely unplanned interview. That's a lie. There's plans in my head. I just didn't write anything down. But yeah, thank you. Especially because, again, one of the only 2 representatives of Colorado to top 64, and the only Devas list to top 64.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That part's freaking amazing.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I love talking about Devas. It's a pretty fun deck.
I kind of figured, which is why I mostly just let you go the fuck off.
Thank you. All right.
Oh, now I have to edit this. Joy. Hey, thanks for watching till the end. I'm kind of surprised. No, I'm not. I'm being silly. Sorry, ignore me. Thank you very much for watching. As a reminder, this and all of the streams that I do and all of the written content and videos and all of the crap that I do. Oh, right, and TikToks and YouTube Shorts. Oh no, I need to do a bunch of those today. I'm still in the, 20 hours to leave until PAX East, so I have time, but I have a lot of shit to do today. All of it is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you very much to April, Fragile Paper, Pinball Witch, Yalc, and Pimento. I quite literally could not do this without all of y'all. Thank you so very much. Yeah, you can find me at all the places down below. Again, you can also go to fenoflore.com, which will have everything. You could also go to beacons.ai/layeroflore, which will have everything. You could scan my terrible tiny QR code on a business card, which... No, you're not going to be able to see that on camera. But, hey, if you are at PAX East over the coming week, I will be at the Foam Brain booth if you want a business card. Or just to say hi. I probably won't have Digimon with me. I will also be contractually obligated to attempt to sell you dice. No, not really. Look, I'm proud of my business cards, okay? They are technically functional Digimon cards, and I found a very, very stupid way to, in-game mechanics, make it a flip card. It's terrible, and I don't care. It's not even it is a memory setter. Right. I forgot that I technically made the tamer version of memory setter, so it's almost playable. Anyway, have a great day, night, whatever the hell time zone it is for you, and I will see you when I get back from PAX. Or when I get back from the trip that I'm doing after PAX, because I don't know what happened with spring. I lost control of my life with spring. It'll probably link on the next screen, but hey, there's a deck profile that you can go watch of my 70th place armor list, which doesn't sound that impressive until I remind you that 70th is still not bad, especially considering it's the first regional of the year. And I picked up the deck the day before and had only played 5 games. I'm not kidding. Like, I literally threw it together the day before and played, like, 5 best of 3 games the night before and only got a chance to test against Devas and Levia, and fuck Levia. Look, I'm gonna die on this hill, okay? I'm really sick of these broken purple decks. Luga is not a broken purple deck, and I will also fight you on that. Yeah. Bye, all.